Look. Bye. We got the dog set up here to run to the left, and this is Nick. He's running to the come by side. We're gonna lay the dog down out there and get him up. And then we're gonna let the dog just bring the sheep to us and not direct him in any way, just kind of talk about him a little bit here. I work the dog in the back of the pasture, or go to the back of the pasture and bring the cows up or the sheep with him. And I can send the dog across that 40 down there after the sheep or the cattle. And he makes an outrun just like he did there and covers the stock on both sides. I will say that he does prefer to go to the left. But if I set him up right to run right, he will run just as wide to the right. But he does prefer to go to the left. Bring the stock to me. And there's a big herd of sheep over on the back side over there. And he works that big herd just like he does these. But these are a lot smaller group, and these are a bunch of lambs that I've got sorted off. I'm gonna flank the dog right and left here a little bit. Nick, bye, 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 down, down, away, way, down, sit down, up, up, there, up. Bye. Well, I was just letting the dog do his thing there by demonstrating that the dog does know his rights, and that's pretty good. I feed liquid feed to the sheep. It's a lot less trouble for me. And I use this dog to work in the pens, sheep and cattle both. I mean, when I bring them up here to the pen to sort or whatever, or work them down the crowding chutes to worm or whatever, the dog has been taught to work in the crowding chutes. Now, I do not put the dog in the crowding chute on the cattle, because I don't want him to get his brains kicked out. But I do work him in the chutes, the crowding chutes on the sheep. But sometimes that crowding chute's about over 100 feet long. Get up, Nick. If I can have a dog to put the cattle in the pen for me, or the sheep, either one, we can handle them. And especially, I don't put the dog in too much of an area where he's going to get hurt too. To show you what I mean about sorting the sheep by working the cattle. If I want to sort some of these sheep out, I'm not going to. Up. Come on, Nick. And of course, I can catch one or whatever. In other words, just sort any way I want to. Bye. Bye. He'll get in the corner and bring them out. And of course, now we got them sorted off. Sit down. Go down and shut this gate. Well, I really wasn't prepared to do this, and I just thought of it as I was working the dog. I thought, well, you might as well see the dog working in the crowding chute like I use him all the time. And like I said, I do not put the dog in behind the cattle in the crowd and chute. The dog does help me put the cattle in the crowding chute, but he doesn't go past that. If I want to brought back up here, I can. Up, up. Away, wait. And I was talking about the cattle, not the sheep. I sort the cattle exactly the same way that I'm doing right here with the sheep. I use the dog exactly the same way on the cattle. But he just doesn't go in the crowding chute. Right there is where he stops. I don't allow him to go any further when I'm working the cattle.
Well, it's obvious when the sheep don't. That lead should stay there, stay there. Stay there. Come on, Nick.
We got to get that lead sheep to going. And it's the reason I hate to work sheep, for the simple reason that there never wants to be a leader in sheep.
Push. Push up. Push. Up.
Well, I've got to get prepared here to run the sheep on down the crowding chute and put them in the working pen here. I designed this to run the sheep up on a platform where I could trim their hooves and worm or whatever else I needed to do to them. And I've got designed some leg holders and hoof trimmers to work the sheep and a head gate and the whole 9 yards there. Of course, my wife or someone is always with the dog on the backside, and my wife is keeping the sheep coming to me all the time while I'm working them.
Sheep punch to me. Get up, Nick. Up, up. Push. Up. Nick.
Uh-oh.
Back.
He went past one.
Get back.
But he'll go get him and bring him back.
Now, push. Up. That's good.
That's pretty handy, isn't it? I'm going to take him out here and run him through the paces a little bit.
Sit down. Get up. Up.
We're driving a little bit with him here again. Doing a little whistle command stuff. That's a walk up.
All right.
Left hand.
Of course, when the dog's on the back side, it's his job to bring them to me without me telling him anything. And it's obvious he knows his rights and left pretty good. Bye. And I can get behind the sheep or the cattle, either one. I'm just using the sheep as a demonstration so they work easier than the cattle do.
That is not right. I'm using the sheep to demonstrate with because you can see the dog a lot better.
Here, Nick.
And I can run him through his commands a lot better than I can with the cattle. I'd rather work cattle 2 to 1 as I had the sheep.
Away. There. Bye. Nick. Bye. There.
I name the dog a lot when I'm talking to the dog. I name him a lot. In other words, when I ask him to do something, I call his name a lot.
Away. He's a pretty nice dog. He does a good job. He's And as I said, I use the dog on the sheep and the cattle. And I sort cattle just like I did the sheep there. The only difference is I don't allow him to get in the crowding chute with the cattle. I make him stay, I stop him at the head of the crowding chute. I mean, I've taught the dog to get behind the stock and stay behind the stock and bring the stock to me wherever I go. And if it's down the highway or whatever. And believe it or not, I have taken cattle down the highway. And he'll bite a little bit on the back. He's not a heel dog by no means, but he will bite up high, and especially on the sheep if I tell him to push, or the cattle. Okay, Nick, sit down. That'll do. Come here. Okay. Well, that pretty well tells the story on him. Well, I had videos, Nick and another dog working some cattle. So that's where we're going to go. We're going to go to a friend of mine's house over in Oklahoma, and he asked me to come over and dog break some cattle for him. He had put together 40 or 50 head of mother cows out of the sale barns and out of the pastures and so forth, wherever he could find them. And I took this little group of cattle, I think there's 15 or so in here, and I took those cattle out of a bigger field and put them in this pen with these two dogs. And that was about 8 or 10 minutes ago now. I've worked these cattle here for, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes in this pen. And, I'm just trying to get the cattle to settle down and get them used to me. And this is the way I dog break all my cattle. At home or wherever I am, I put them in a small pen where they can't get away from me, and let them get accustomed to being moved with the dogs, and let them get accustomed to being handled by man. Of course, these cattle don't even know each other, much less me or these dogs. So, but we're handling the cattle and getting it done, and I'm going to send the cattle down in that corner there to bring the dogs down in the corner to bring the cattle out. I'll get it right in a minute. But then the cattle's going to run up here to the other end of the pen, and the dogs are going to go around and head them and bring them right out of that corner back down there to me. But this is the way I dog break cattle, and we're going to lay the dogs down here, and they've done a good job, and I'm going to get another pair of dogs. But in the meantime, I'm Charlie Ryder, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, call me. Thank you.